who was the chairman of state television and radio. They have been arrested on corruption and for wasting public funds. And another very significant development, Ahmed Aiz, who was a member of the ruling party, the NDP, as well as a steel tycoon and very close friend of Gamal Mubarak, who's Hosni Mubarak's son, as well as two former ministers, the housing minister and the former trade minister. They have been ordered to stand trial by the prosecutor general. We don't have a date for that yet, but when it does happen, they will be the first ministers to have to explain themselves in a court of law for the actions that they took under Mubarak's presidency.
And that was Shireen Tadros. Now, many of you who've been watching Al Jazeera over the last month or so will have been wondering when the WikiLeaks founder, Julian Assange, was going to find out whether he was going to be extradited or not. Well, we now know what one court at least has ruled, and Stephen Cole's going to tell us in London.
Indeed, I am. The website's founder has in the past couple of hours just learned that he lost his fight against extradition to Sweden. He's wanted in Sweden for questioning over allegations of sexual assault. Assange says he'll appeal against the London court's decision, and in the past half hour has given a defiant press conference. Tim Friend reports.
This decision is a major blow for Julian Assange and WikiLeaks. The whistleblower who revealed secret US embassy cables to Washington's anger and embarrassment must now face the possibility of a trial on sex charges in Sweden. He says they're politically motivated and designed to smear his reputation. He'll appeal and could still avoid extradition.
What we saw today at Belmarsh was a rubber stamping process that comes as no surprise, but is nonetheless wrong. A rubber stamping process that is a result of a European arrest warrant system run amok.
His defence team say that Assange will not get a fair trial in Sweden, but the UK judge said there was no evidence to support that. There's still a concern amongst Julian Assange's supporters, like these people here, that he could eventually end up being taken to the United States, where many people, US politicians among them, believe that he should be tried for espionage and WikiLeaks rated as a terrorist organisation.
We are still hopeful that the matter will be resolved in this country. We still remain very optimistic about our opportunities on appeal. The judge made a very important finding in relation to both the fact of a secret trial, which in Sweden, which is an anathema to the open justice principle, which we in this country, and I think in most civilized countries of the world, hold very dear.
Assange has the support of celebrities and human rights activists. He denies the sex charges against him, but he must continue to wear an electronic tag, which his defence team called degrading and demeaning.
Well, Tim Friend is in East London, outside the court, and he joins me now live. Tim, this, to me, doesn't seem to be a case that's going to be resolved in the very near future, is it?
No, it isn't, Stephen, because there are all sorts of appeal processes that can be gone through, and there are options that can be taken up by either side, depending on who, to put it one way, who is winning at any given moment. Julian Assange has got 7 days in which to officially appeal. He's going to do that. That's a process that could take some time to get organised. It could then go on to the Supreme Court in the UK, and of course once that's been exhausted, if he gets permission, he could go to the European Court of Human Rights in Strasbourg, and that again could be a very protracted process. All the time, of course, he's being distracted from what he says is his real job, which is making WikiLeaks work and carry on doing what it says it does best, and that is exposing inside information. And of course it's that information that's landed him in trouble. And he was hinting today about the possibility of the United States having a hand in the background here. He's hugely embarrassed Washington. The WikiLeaks that were published were cables from US ambassadors around the world. They were candid, they were embarrassing, they involved world leaders with whom the United States would like to have cordial relationships, even though they may think other things behind their back. And that's exactly what these cables revealed.
Tim, how legitimate are the concerns that Assange will be sent on to the United States?
Well, the judge said he could see no legitimate evidence that that would be the case. He said that he didn't see any evidence that suggested that it would be any easier for the United States to extradite Julian Assange from Sweden than it would be from the United Kingdom. And he said that the Swedes had an independent judicial system, a rigorous system, and that Assange would only be extradited, as indeed he would be from Britain, if there was adequate reason to do so. So I think the judge was saying just because he may end up in Sweden doesn't increase his chances of being sent back to the United States. But there is definitely a feeling amongst Julian Assange's supporters that the United States would very much like him back. We've got congressmen saying they think he should be tried for espionage, and that's a weight of opinion that predominates in certain quarters in the United States.
All right, Tim, we're going to leave it there. Tim Friend reporting live for us from East London. Thank you. Time to go back to Doha now, and David.
Rescuers in New Zealand are losing what hope they had of finding any more survivors from the earthquake which hit the city of Christchurch. 98 bodies apparently have been retrieved. 226 people are still listed as being missing. But more than 24 hours have now passed with no further signs of life from underneath the rubble. Water, electricity and sewerage is still cut off in Christchurch, and fuel is running short. Tanya Page is there for us.
The death toll is expected to climb much higher, with police having grave concerns for up to 226 people. The coroner has said that they are having some difficulty identifying the people that they are pulling out of the rubble because of the level and severity of the injuries they've sustained. So they're encouraging people who have reported their loved ones and friends missing to give them a little information about what clothing they may have been wearing, tattoos, jewellery, birthmarks, that type of thing. They have only released the names of 4 of those killed, including 2 babies, one as young as 5 months old. Now, a massive international search and rescue operation is underway, despite the fact that it was on Wednesday that the last person pulled alive from the rubble was recovered. They are still hopeful that they will find more people alive. There are rescue teams from 6 different countries here working around the clock, really, although the worst affected area is under lockdown 24 hours a day. That's largely because they're using sonic equipment to search for people who may still be trapped in the rubble, and they need that area, because it is still also very dangerous, to be as quiet as possible.
The Indonesian cleric Abu Bakar Bashir has denied helping to set up, fund and arm a new terror cell in the country's western region.